Well, the 2.5 hour journey to Derby on Monday evening was certainly worth the effort. And my thanks to Julie and Dave for giving me a lift home from the station. Otherwise, I'd be on the night bus and it would have taken me at least another hour or longer to get home. So I'm much appreciated there. West Ham went into this game knowing that if we lost against a very good Derby County side, the knives would be out for David Moyes and probably some of the players as well. However, the team selected was right. The performance that the players put in was professional, and we couldn't ask for any more. So, what did we learn from the fourth round FA Cup tie against Derby County? Or, as some of you might say, what did we already know? And the game just reminded us. Let's start off in defence, shall we? As expected, we got to see some players who are not getting much game time at the moment in the Premier League. So Moyes went again with a back three, or some of you may call it a back five, whichever way you want to view it. And some of the players that haven't been getting game time was Ben Johnson and Thilo Kehrer. So it wasn't a surprise to see them both in the team on Monday night. Ben Johnson playing as a wing back, a right wing back, and Thilo Kehrer was part of a three at the back. Now, I don't think either of them had a really spectacular game against Derby, but they did enough to see the team keep a clean sheet. And it's interesting that despite some of the criticism he gets, whenever Ben Johnson plays, we have a lot of clean sheets. Of the 17 games that he's been involved in all competitions this season, of which he started 14, we have 9 clean sheets. Is that coincidence? Johnson's not a swashbuckling wing back, we know that, but he is a safe pair of hands. And I do think that despite him not having the best of seasons so far, he is a player that I believe, will give us something in defence. He is a solid, reliable defender. And I think we should keep hold of him. We should sort out his long-term contract and keep him at the club. With Thilo Kehrer, I don't think he had the best of games, but it's interesting. When he started his career at West Ham, he looked really good and we were really excited. A German international coming to West Ham. But then a few errors came in, some of them which weren't entirely his fault. And that sort of knocked his confidence a little bit. And then that ill-fated spot as a left-back against Leeds United when we drew 2-2 completely knocked any confidence that he may have had left. He didn't play a great game against Derby County, but he had the very experienced Angelo Ogbonna alongside him. I think there's more to come from Kehrer. I think we should stick with him and see what happens. By the way, no bids in for either Kehrer or Ben Johnson. There's been, even though they've both been in the news, social media about bids coming in from Everton and clubs in Germany, etc., or Italy, should I say, for Kehrer, etc. Apparently, all of that is nonsense. We've not received any bids for either player. Ogbonna, look, what a great servant he's been for West Ham United. Many believed, or I certainly believed, that last season when he picked up his injury, that would be the end of his career, let alone just the end of the season. I thought he wouldn't come back from that. But the club stayed loyal to him. They extended his contract as they promised for a further season, gave him time to recover, and he's been made one of the 3 vice-captains for West Ham United this season, alongside Fabianski and Creswell. He's just a great defender. He seems to deliver whenever he's been called upon. I love Ogbonna. I think he's become one of my favourite characters at West Ham United over the past few years. He's been absolutely fantastic for us. And he delivered again. He was really, really solid in defence again against Derby County. And then Naifer Gerd. Now we know why David Moyes waited 2 years and spent a lot of money on getting the player in that he wanted, the defender in that he wanted. He is becoming a Rolls Royce of defenders. He certainly is. Just makes things look so easy. He's so calm. He's so composed. A future captain of West Ham United? I'd say he would be, because he just seems to get better and better every time he plays. And again, he was quite imperious in defence against Derby County. And then Emerson, a player that has begun to deliver for West Ham over the past few games. I think he's had several good games in a row. He's beginning to demonstrate what he's capable of doing for West Ham. And I enjoyed watching him. He's quite prolific down the wing. He can set up goals. He can certainly get the ball into the box, making it quite dangerous for the opposition. And he's beginning to demonstrate what he's capable of doing. What else have we learnt? Well, in central midfield, some of you may find this a surprise, but guess who I thought was one of the targets for man of the match? Thomas Souček. certainly a contender. He had a really, really decent game in the centre of the park. Now, I don't know what you guys think, but every time Declan Rice doesn't play, Souček seems to rise to the occasion. You know, he was all over the pitch last night, a bit of a throwback to the Souček we once knew when he arrived at the club. Good ball distribution, breaking down attacks, getting forward when we're in attack, and of course, creating the goal for Jarrod Bowen. Lots of people around me were saying much the same thing. It wasn't just me. There were a couple of guys behind who was talking about the game at halftime, and they were saying much the same thing, that Souček just looked in form. I don't know what goes on when Declan is there in the team. Of course, they should be able to play together. They should complement each other. They certainly did in the first season that Souček was there. But I don't know what's happened lately. But he certainly put in a really good performance against Derby County last night. And of course, alongside him, Flynn Downs. He was the makings of a really, really good footballer. He oozes class, certainly confident in play, footballer that's just going to get better and better. And he seems to make the game look so easy as well. Gets himself involved, gets stuck in there. And like I said, instrumental along Souček to keep the midfield in check. He's certainly a talent. What about defence? Well, what else have we learned in defence? Well, the way Jarrod Bowen and Antonio combined in the game was really good. Another throwback yet again. Every time Antonio, we saw glimpses of it last season, but we haven't seen enough of it in the first half of this season, where Bowen and Antonio were combining. They were switching. When Bowen was out wide, Antonio was in the middle. When Antonio was out wide, Bowen was in the middle. And they both got their goals. They're both in the right place at the right time to get their goals. And that's going to give them confidence going into the second half of we're in the second half of the season. And it's coming just at the right time where our attacking players are starting to notch up a few goals. Now, look, let me qualify. Let me remind you. Okay, I understand. This was only a lot of you are going to say, well, it was only against Derby County. Don't read too much into it, etc. But let's not forget, over the past few seasons, Kidderminster, we got past them just by the skin of our teeth last season in a cup competition. Before that, Wimbledon, Oxford United, we haven't done well. We got knocked out of competitions against opposition like that. So I think it was really encouraging. The performance was really encouraging against Derby County. What else did we learn? Well, I think one thing that seems certain is what David Moyes is going to do with our formation going forward for the remainder of this season. It seems fairly obvious that what he's going to do is, when we're in ascendancy, he's going to play a 3-4-2-1, and when we're in attack, he's going to switch that. When we're defending, he's going to switch that to a 5-4-1. It seems fairly obvious. Now, he did say after the game about Agerd, I think he's better in a back four, but it seems evident that he's not going to be playing a back four whilst we're short on a left back. Some would argue that we're short on a right back as well, but whilst we don't have that confidence, Creswell, he's been, again, a great servant for West Ham United, but he's not been playing well. He got badly caught out against Brentford, and I don't think David Moyes is going to risk that again the remainder of the season. So what I think we're going to see is a 3-4-2-1 when we're attacking and a 5-4-1 when we're defending until the end of the season. And the last thing is what we learned, or what we may know, or what a lot of you may still not agree with, is the question, is David Moyes still super? After the first goal, some fans started singing, "We've got Super David Moyes." And a few fans around me were like, used certain expletives in no uncertain terms to tell Moyes where to go. But at the end of the game, just have a listen to this.
So it's all finished. West Ham 2, Derby 0. And here comes David Moyes. Let's see what sort of reception he gets as he comes over. I'm sure Nick Killington will have an opinion. Let's be honest, it doesn't sound like the away fans are anti-Moyes at the moment, does it?
Now, at the end of the game, every fan was singing it, or virtually every fan was singing it. And it demonstrates, look, when we're doing well, when the performance is being put in, when we win a game, or even if we lose, so long as we put in a performance, the fans are going to appreciate it. Look, I don't think we're back to Super David Moyes yet. As yet. Let's see what happens for the remainder of the season. But certainly what fans demonstrate, certainly our away fans, is that they are appreciative of what David Moyes is capable of doing. Will he win all the fans over again? I don't know. It's really, really going to depend on what happens when this and see where we are by the end of the season. It's just an interesting one, to be honest with you. Look, the performance, we had 52% of the possession. We restricted Derby County to one shot on target. And we did really well. We had 5 shots on target. We looked composed and we looked like we were never going to lose the game. We won the game in the first half, took our foot off the pedal in the second half, and it was all good. Will David Moyes win the fans back over? Let's see. Let's see where we are at the end of the season, and let's see where in the league, and let's see what competition we might win. And that takes me on to, of course, we already know who we got in the next round, Man United. I mean, it was like we were all... Here's another little video when that was announced.
So here we are at Derby. Here's the reaction from the West Ham fans. Number 13, Bristol City. This is who we want. Come on, 7, 7, 7. Come on. Oh no. And you can see the disappointment.
Man United. That was the fan reaction. It was almost like we knew. In fact, what we were waiting for Man City to draw us, and we didn't. We drew the other Manchester team instead. Look, Man United, we've played them in all competitions 150 times, lost 72, drew 32. 146. In the FA Cup, we played them 13 times. 3 of those were replays. We lost 6. We won 4. It's not that bad against the stats in the FA Cup, to be quite honest with you. We know we beat them already in Manchester, the Di Canio winner back in 2001, when what's his name, Barthez was calling for a taxi. And in the League Cup, we beat them in 2021 when Lanzini scored the winner as well, an early goal there. So we know we can do it. Without a shadow of a doubt, we can do it. And ironically, in the last 5 or 6 games, the margins between us have been quite short, quite narrow. There's been 5 games with 1-0. One of them went for us. The other went for Man United. And in a run of 6 games, we only lost by more than 1 goal when it was 2-1 in the League Cup. All right, we might lose 1-0 is what you're saying. What I'm saying is I think there's every chance that we can get a result against Man United. Why not? If we're going to win it, we're going to do it the hard way. Another away draw, a 3rd one in a row in this competition. We beat Brentford away. We've now beaten Derby away. Why not beat Man United away as well? Now, there's a lot of talk about when the game is going to be held. It seems like there's going to be a fixture congestion for Man United. They're in the Europa League and they got the League Cup final and all that sort of stuff. And there's a suggestion that we might end up having to play them in midweek, which means that if it's an evening game, of course it will be if it is midweek, we're going to have to stay over there because there'll be no trains back to London because it'll be too late to catch any trains. And imagine if it went to, I don't know, penalties, etc. We'll certainly miss the last train back to London. So that's it. 5 things we learned or 5 things we already knew. Really appreciate you listening and watching. I'm going to finish off with Dodsey and his reflection on the game as well. I'll be back a little bit later to do a very quick roundup of the transfer window. We know the transfer window shuts at the end of tonight, and I'll give you a quick update. There's not a lot to talk about, to be quite honest with you, but I'll give you a quick update on the transfer window. And then I should be on Hammers Chat at between 10:30 and 10:45 when they do their transfer roundup as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll leave you in the hands of Dodsey.
Well, the morning after, the day before, a 2-0 win, which sees us march on into the 5th round against Man United away. The 5th time in 7 years, I think it is, that we've drawn Man United in the Cup. Oh well, it is what it is. A great atmosphere. Just wanted to add it to what I said last night. It was interesting to see that all bar 2 or 3% of the 5,000 were singing "We've Got Super David Moyes" and David Moyes Claret and Blue Army at the end. So the away fans haven't turned yet on David Moyes. He gets a stay of execution, winning at Derby. I think we'll lose to Newcastle. I can't see us getting anything there, but a win at home to Chelsea and a draw away to Tottenham, and that'll see him move on for another 2 or 3 games, I would imagine. So another video will come on Saturday as we travel up to Newcastle, staying overnight, so that'll be some fun as well, meeting quite a few people up there. So as always, stay safe, come on you Irons.